Making plays on trading view, waiting on a blue triangle. I just call it blues clue. Portfolio diversified. Keep my balance class.
Yo, how's it going? Do you guys see me? Is this working right? I'm still figuring out this stuff, man. I'm still figuring out how to stream. Do you guys see me? What's up, guys? How we doing? How we doing?
So I think I just might buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip,
buy the dip, buy the dip,
buy the dip, buy the dip, don't trip.
Let some people pour in. How we doing, everybody?
Buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, don't trip, buy the dip. Get my chips and dip.
Sweet.
In and out, I'm stacking pips. Market looking bearish. Buy the dip.
It's a super late stream today. I'm sorry for the late stream. We're gonna get into it though.
Don't trip. The market crashed on me, but it's not my ass, homie. Time to rise up out the flames.
I know, man. We need some TA, bro. We need some good TA. You guys been waiting for some good TA all day, man. I got you, man. I got you.
All my followers, man, they need me. We can all get rich together. Talk about financial freedom. BTC, ETH.
Let me get more water.
That's a threesome. Three-way. Blockchain tokens got your boy really eating. Cryptocurrency is a gift from God. All praises to the Most High. Help me beat the odds, playing smart, so I don't get wrecked like you pencil next. Way a crew, call me Spider-Man, the way I spider line. Until we position, then I exit trades right on time. Might tell you a secret, but I'll never drop a dime. Favorite pastime, sitting back, watching candles climb. If they go the other way, keep calm and don't trip. Buy the dip, 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 buy the dip. Don't trip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Buy the dip, buy the dip, don't trip, buy the dip. Get my chips and dip, hodl coins and watch me flip. In and out, I'm stacking pips. Market looking bearish. Buy the dip, 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 don't trip. It ain't over for me. It ain't over for me. It ain't over for me. It ain't over for me.
What's up, everybody? Welcome. It's kind of a late stream, man. Dude, I ate so much steak today that I'm just like, oh man, I like laid down for a nap and it almost took out the entire day. I haven't even done the push-ups yet. I didn't even stream. This is one of those days. You guys ever have those days where you just feel super behind? But I did do a really good interview with Alexo Crypto. Alexo Crypto. I did a spotlight with him and it was awesome. So the spotlight went really good. I'm just waiting on a thumbnail to be made and then I'll post that like late tonight. But Alexo Crypto. So yeah, so today it's going to be a little different. You guys know I love to use the VWAPs, the anchor tool. But today I'm going to do a dbsi analysis. We're just going to keep it simple. We're just going to use dbsi with the waves. It's going to be a little bit different. We're just going to look at the market in a slightly different way. And hopefully we'll learn something new about the dbsi today. So it's going to be part analysis, part educational, because I know that this is one of the tools that I need, like, you know, we need to shed light on a little more. But type a 1 in the chat if you use dbsi, if you like dbsi already.
To protect us from the elements, I'm a living testament. Loyalty is rare. All that hating you be doing, please keep it over there. We gon' focus on the market. All we care about is profit. New wardrobe up in the closet.
I've been looking at the dbsi on various time frames, and I think the 4-hour is probably the best right now. The dbsi is amazing on the 4-hour, and I'm just talking about with standard settings with the 200 candle average. When this thing's green, we take the lessons that we learned from the anchor tool and we apply it to the dbsi, right? We want to look at the slope of the dbsi and the color. So, you know, when the slope of the dbsi is flat, you see this flat slope here? That's not really that juicy. That's not really that juicy. That implies consolidation. And look, as we get this flat line, you see that the price is rather flat. You know, there's a little bit of volatility, but it's very flat. But as we pick up a little bit, you see at this point from here to here, the slope of the DBSI picks up and it is green. And you can see that the longs start playing out better. And then from this point forward, you see we're very sloped up, and you see the longs playing out even more. So this is something I know CF hasn't taught you guys is have, like, look at the slope of the DBSI line and the color of it, and this is going to give us expert level trend bias. Now look at the slope of it here. It's kind of, we're a little bit more where we're at back here, so it's not going to be some straight up crazy spiky price action, but we are about as bullish as we were back in February when we broke out from that. There was a point in these markets where we didn't know if we were going to come up after the ETF dump, and we broke out from that. Right around that point in the markets, from like February to, it was like all of February. We're basically like February levels of bullish right now, instead of early March levels of bullishness. So the slope of the DBSI has come down a bit, and it is certainly possible. We don't want to make inferences of the future, because we could go up again. We could start sloping dramatically upwards, or we could just go sideways. You see that? So it's hard to say. It's hard to say. All we can go off of is what the DBSI is saying right now, which is that we're sloped up and we're green. So when the DBSI is green, now that we know about the slope, we want to apply this trend bias to NickCipher B, because this is going to allow our NickCipher B readings to be more accurate and more powerful, and also easier to read, because we're going to be looking for half as many wave readings. So what I'm going to do to show you guys is we're going to take, let's see if I can actually drag this up. Usually I'm able to drag this up. Here we go. So obviously, if you apply proper trend bias when the DBSI is green on the 4 hour, and look at this quality of these waves, the wave readings down here, boom, boom, boom. So if you correspond these waves to their points in the markets, you see about the quality of the reads that you get when you employ proper trend bias just on this 4 hour time frame. You're getting much better quality trades just by being patient and just waiting for deep waves or any kind of wave under the 0 line when the DBSI is green, because you're in an overall uptrend, and the slope really matters too. Now what I don't like about this 4 hour time frame, guys, is that when we were sloped up the hardest, see this here, like we were sloped up very, very hard, but we weren't getting any trade opportunities. So while the 4 hour does a good job of being a good environmental read for us, perhaps even with the trade planning aspect of a trade, maybe there's a time frame we could go on that gives us like more opportunities during the best of times. So this is nice. This is nice. In fact, if we go to a red, a point where we're red in the markets, such as back here, and then we do the opposite, you can see that it's these little waves above 0 on the 4 hour that correspond to the tops, the best swing trades using DBSI. So do you see how DBSI's trend bias is very powerful? It gets you in the mode of not looking for the BitBoy green dots. It gets you in the mode of, okay, I need to be looking for trigger waves if we're underneath like this, or I do need to be looking for BitBoy green dots if it's green. But you guys know my favorite time frame is the 65 minutes, so let's do some 65-minute analysis here. Oops. Here we go. Okay. So here we got the 65-minute chart. And so the 65-minute chart is actually more of like a scalp time frame. Like from when, as you get lower from this point forward, you're talking about scalp time frames. So this is going to give us more opportunities like directly on the DBSI line to actually enter. It's not going to do as good of a job as a VWAP, which is volume weighted. This is more price action based because it's a rolling set of candle data. This line here is the 200 candle EMA, which is, you can see in the settings. You can adjust this too. You can adjust it to whatever you want, and you can backtest to whatever you want. But you can see that in an uptrend, so we'll find this point of green here. You don't want to doubt a green DBSI. So the green started right here and it ended right up here. We had a big run on the 65-minute chart. And if we take NickCipher and we just ignore the top sides of the waves, you can see that like these waves here were the little dips in the market that you actually want to go long on, especially if you have a divergence, like you see the price coming down and the waves coming up. Even these little trigger waves can often be the bottoms of the market. And so not every single one plays out perfectly, but at least you're trading with the grain. You see this? Now if you were weighing the tops and the bottoms of NickCipher's waves evenly and you weren't employing this form of trend bias, then there's a very good chance that you might be getting wrecked. And so some of these trades don't play out. Like, see, like here's a wave, you know, you get in here and it does go up on you, but then it's like sideways for a while. So, you know, it's not a guarantee that every trade is going to be super clean, but you also do catch the super bangers, and also it's only a matter of time before your trade is in the green. You know what I'm saying? So, this is just how you would employ trend bias using dbsi. If it's green, you're looking for waves under the zero line. Even baby ones play out. So this is how I employ dbsi. If you see a point that's red in the markets, you're not really looking for the bottoms unless you're looking to take profits or something, but you kind of want to do this. You kind of want to like drag that. Well, you shouldn't drag it down. I'm just doing this for a visual. I'm just so you guys can visualize this. But when the dbsi turns red, like from here to here, then now we want to be looking at the tops of NickCipher's blue waves, and we want to be considering shorts. This is a really simple strategy too. It's just a blue wave dbsi strategy. So the other tools in NickCipher are just a bonus, like the money flow, the yellow wave, the RSIs. But you can see that like when we get pretty much any wave over the zero line ends up playing really good. Here, here, here. I mean, these are all the points where you would look to be entering into a big short because the trend is overall in your favor. Like, see, like you, like short, add to your short, add your short, add your short, add your short, and then it all comes dumping down for you because the dbsi is red. And eventually you get the big banger. So the trend is your friend until the end. One of the hardest parts about NickCipher B is which side of the waves do I trade? So employing trend bias, you know, you don't have to just be a pure momentum trader. Alexo Crypto is he's really good at using just the waves and like pretty much nothing else. But personally, I like to employ like some form of trend bias with the candles, whether it's an EMA or an anchor. Those are my two favorite ones, an EMA or a volume weighted anchor, or both. Now there are points in the markets where the dbsi, it goes more sideways. Like look at this sideways point in the markets, and at a point like this, not only is it harder to discern, you know, the red doesn't stay red as long, the green doesn't stay green as long, and both sides of the waves are coming into play. And so when the dbsi is sideways, you have to beware. You know, you're in a consolidatory sideways point in that market, whatever market you're analyzing. This is a pretty big stretch of relatively sideways dbsi right here. Unless you zoom in more, and you could hit like the little, you know, there's there are these moves in here where like you do have a down slope, but you want to pay attention to the overall look and feel of the dbsi line, even if the price isn't interacting with it. Like here, you definitely, once you get to like this high right here in the markets, you see that the slope is down. You know, you're at that point where the dbsi line is red and named down. And so if you see, you know, like an anchor trigger, dbsi red and slope down, you see how that leads to a very powerful short. Look at the short there, nice little 3%er. Let me go through the chat here because I haven't really been reading. Good to have you guys in. Eating steak every day, good stuff, Rendell. Make sure you're eating your protein every day, especially if you're working out. If you guys aren't using dbsi, you're kind of missing out. It's very simple, and like it's a very simple indicator. It's just an EMA with color coded stretches in it that help you employ trend bias. And I haven't even talked about CF's like his secret number code that rates like the most recent candles. There's like 42 momentum readings that go into this stuff. And yeah, it's like you see an 8 flip to a 13, and then you get a 14, so you can see the momentum picking up. And it makes you more bullish, even though we're like, you know, apparently like it looks like it's crashing into resistance. It's telling you like, no, we're getting more powerful. So, you know, I'm not the best at this discerning these numbers. I think CF is better at using the actual numbers here than I am. But I think the biggest takeaway from dbsi is that it's a really great form of trend bias. And what we see here is that, look, we are currently in this market in an upslope. You guys see this? And so what we want to be looking at on this 65-minute time frame is opportunities under the zero line. We had a really good one already where we had a couple already. So we had one here that was right at this point, and you had a good, you see that this market pumped up all the way to the high, and so this was a good reading. We had another little trigger wave that did, you know, overall it failed, but this is what led us up to that target right there. So that did play out. And then we had another a really good deep wave. The deeper the wave, the better. When we're over the dbsi line and the dbsi is green and sloped up, and you get an anchor wave, ooh, that's juicy. So just make sure that your dbsi is sloped up and that it's green, and the deeper the wave, the better. If you want to add dbsi, just go to your indicators, click the forward dash tool, go to your invite only scripts or your favorites or wherever you have your NickCipher tools, and just enable it on your chart. If you don't have NickCipher, go to NickCipherTrading.com. There's a link in my YouTube description if you want to use my affiliate link. And yeah, these are all the tools that we offer. Use code Titanic for 25% off lifetime, or you could use code PING for $200 off if you want to get the 1 year. But we got tutorials, we got risk calculator. This is like some old cache. To ignore this Black Friday thing. This is like, my browser is like, the cache is all weird. I don't know what the hell this is. Sometimes it shows this, sometimes it doesn't. That's me, so don't I'm sorry about that. But we got a risk calculator, reviews, and the pricing and all that stuff. So go ahead, check out NickCipher. But yeah. So right now it's bullish. It's in this bullish mode. We're sloped up. The waves below the zero line are doing really great. And also, just real quick to go back to my VWAP chart, we are over the gap anchor. So it's like what the market is saying right now is what gap? What gap? We had this futures gap down here that we were thinking we might need to fill. As long as we stay over the blue anchor, which we placed on like the 25th, then we're safe. It's safe, innocent until proven guilty. If we have to slip under this blue anchor, then I'll be worried about that gap again. But for now, we're over. It looks like the intraday actually just reset, so the bears do have a chance to take the reins. This is something I'd want to monitor. Now that the intraday, if you use this intraday strategy, you're not confident in a long off the intraday until we see some actual strong traction being rebuilt, because it's a new day, it's a new chance for the bears to take over. But there's a lot going on in our favor here. On the 30-minute chart, our dbsi is still in ascent. We're over the gap anchor, and we're over all these other anchors. We're over all these big macro sentiments that were once resistance and are now support.
Game so cold, might as well be a penguin going up, 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 up. That means it's finna go down. Alter ego, Satoshi Nakamoto. Alter ego, Satoshi Nakamoto. Going up, 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 up.
Yep, the dbsi is a 200 candle moving average. That's the default, but you can set it to whatever. You can set it to whatever you want. Let's go Otter Gang. Let's go Otter Gang. Alex O'Crypto got the interview coming. We're dropping the spotlight tonight. As soon as my thumbnail is done being made. As soon as my push-ups are done. I haven't done my push-ups yet today. Jamie Neal, your dbsi is locked. If your dbsi, if you can't access it and you own NickCipher, go to your NickCipher account page and go into the settings of your account and just like refill in your trading view name and click save, and that'll throttle it, and like you'll get the indicators back. Sometimes that happens to people, and my apologies for that. Sometimes the connection gets messed up. But if you just like, you have the power to reset, like unplug and replug in your connection to NickCipher, just go onto your account page and refill in the trading view username and redo the connection. Vitaly says, thoughts on ETH? Can it reach over 3,700? Certainly it can. Certainly it can. When we look at Bitcoin, we're overall turning bullish. You know, the overall big picture of this. I mean, look at the daily dbsi. We want to look at the slope for trend bias, right? So when we look at the dbsi, we're more bullish now. Do you guys see how we're more bullish now from the daily standpoint than we even were all the way up until March? We're now in a big, you can project this forward potentially a little bit longer, but this is the slope we're dealing with on the dbsi. Like, I want you guys to be hopeful in these markets. I want you guys to be looking for dips and not thinking like of anything too crazy is going to happen, because look at the trend bias. The trend biases are in our favor, and we want to trust the indicators. You know, the indicators are not a guarantee, but we're better off trusting the indicators than our own feelings. Does that make sense? As worried and as concerned as we may be, the dbsi is sharply spiked up and green, and we want to trust that. So, you know, Bitcoin, you know, it looks like it has like a magnet at 100K, and it's just like slowly going there, you know. Obviously there's some turbulence. Like, we got to get over these levels. We got to get over the new all-time high, but we're already back up at those levels. And so there's going to be some drama. There's going to be a fight. But the overall picture is that the dbsi, even though we are not interacting with it directly, is so sloped up that like a little indication like this little trigger wave is huge. Like any wave over, any wave under the zero line is a blessing. Like, look at this wave, look at this wave, look at this wave. These were all amazing trades, and now we just got another one. And yes, there is some divergence. Like, you know, this wave, like, you know, we did come up, and this wave is slightly shorter than this one, and like we came up and the money flow doesn't seem like it's as high, but it's gonna keep going. It's gonna keep diverging. It's gonna keep disagreeing. and it's going to go higher. Axe SCB says, what do the numbers mean on DBSI? Honestly, it's secret. It's proprietary. Not even I know, bro. Not even I know exactly what goes into these numbers. All I know is that it's reading momentum similar to the blue and the yellow waves. It's a measure of the market momentum, and you have a score. You have a bearish score on top of the candle and a bullish score below. And so when you go from like a -3 to a -2, -2 to a 15, that's a huge swing. So it's just telling you where the momentum in the market's going. You see up here, we get like a big, strong 17, even though we're higher. Look how the momentum is going crazier. So that to me would seem bullish, you know, for us to be higher and also gaining momentum instead of getting tired out. We did get a little tired out, but we're increasing again. So yeah. I'm not a big DBSI guy, but the more I've been using it along with the anchored VWAPs, it's a solid form of trend bias. EMAs are an amazing form of trend bias if you can understand them. And you may think you understand them, but there may be some things that you're missing, such as the slope. The slope really matters. Like when a DBSI is flat, you're going to get flatter price action, if that makes sense. So, you know, you may be in a point in the markets where things are flat. Like this is definitely a flatter point, and you see more ranging price action. That's the environment that you're in. On the daily, we're just flat DBSI, you know. So you'll be in a moment like that. But that's not where we're at now. Look at the slope of the DBSI. This is crazy. This is crazy. Let's look at it on the weekly. So on the weekly, what's crazy about the weekly DBSI? Let me go on the BLX chart for this. What's crazy about the DBSI on the weekly is we were relatively flat for a very long time, like from here to here, right? And now we're just only now. Like this is the problem with EMAs, is because they're not volume weighted. It's not accounting for all this volume that poured into the markets. Let me go log scale. We're gonna right click the y-axis and we're gonna click logarithmic so that it's more about the percent gain than the actual price. But you can see that the DBSI on the weekly, bro, it's like not, okay, so it went like up a little bit and now it's finally starting to increase in slope. So it's the DBSI on the weekly is increasing in bullish bias, like in this very moment. Crypto Rickus, I was looking at your question. So from a weekly standpoint, we're like only getting started, if that makes sense. 5 days scooping up, the DBSI scooping up, the trend bias is getting more. And look at the momentum. Look at the blue wave momentum. When the blue wave is over the 60 line, this is another form of trend bias for me that I employ. This actually defines my edge as a trader and investor. Is I actually only like coming back to these markets and participating in the crypto markets when the blue waves on the big time frames are over 60. Like I honestly saved myself a lot of trouble selling all my Bitcoin back here at the in April of 2021, right up here when this candle came down and we slipped below the 60 line. I like sold all my Bitcoin, and the next day my brother was long $8 million. I didn't care. I posted in the analysis chat, I'm sticking to my guns, and he made some money in that trade, and we did get iceberg. So me and my brother were both correct, you know, like he caught this little green move up, but overall, like FloppingGroper's doom, ill omen of the 60 line being lost and the runaway train finally, I mean, look, we got hit by 1, 2, 3 major roadblocks. Think about in business or in relationships, like things happen in threes, like in betrayals, like you get betrayed 3 times, the 3rd time is when you say, screw this shit, I'm out. So right now, on the weekly, we've had 1, 2 big betrayals over the 60 line. There's more juice in the tank, guys. I'm telling you. This is a toxic relationship, but we love this shit, right? Isn't that how you feel about the Bitcoin markets? That it's a toxic relationship, but we love this shit? That's what the blue waves are saying. So, yes, we've had a red dot. There's definitely been some hitches. But I do not lose hope in a market until the blue waves on the weekly slip underneath the 60 line. That's my top signal. And a lot of people can't really tell you what is the top signal that I'm looking for, you know? But I can confidently tell you that my top signal in any market is when the weekly blue waves slip under the 60. That's hella scary, bro. That may not be the actual top of the market. Like if you look back here, we do get saved down here and we go up to an all-time high, but then you create a bear div. See, like the momentum is just never goes the same as it was before, despite the price being higher. Are you guys just listening and absorbing like sponges, or did the chat die? Or let me know if you guys are there. Is anyone there? Okay. Make sure you guys are liking the stream, and that's so funny. You guys are probably just going about, you're probably in the gym working out, you're probably making dinner. You guys are handling your lives, man. I really appreciate that you guys come here to listen to me talk. I really do. And I'm flattered when you guys go quiet. What that shows is that you guys are just absorbing and you guys are locked in. And it's serious mode. It's serious mode right now. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to add, like, there's other streamers who are more, you know, probably more entertaining, more funny. You know, like everyone has their strengths, you know, but I purposely came back to MC because there's a gap of like a solid flow state of pure knowledge, you know. I'm like opening the tome of MC, and I'm shining light on as much darkness as I can, you know. I only know what I know, but what I do know, I want you guys all to know. That way you guys can be smarter than me. I serve as a baseline, a low baseline, not only for the MC traders and technical knowledge, but I want to serve as a low baseline for our influencers and the other people who are streaming MC. Like, if you don't work as hard as I do, and if you don't know as much as I do, then you got to work on your stuff, you know? Because if FloppingGroper, if a guy named FloppingGroper knows more than you, well then, gosh dang it, I'm not done learning, you know? So thank you, my little sponges. Thank you. The weekly signs, the weekly blue waves are like one of my #1 environmental reads and my trend bias reads. The daily does a darn good job too. The fact that we're not over the 60 line on the daily definitely implies that we are in a more ranging point in the markets. We want to see the blue waves come back up, and we want to get giant blue wave blob after giant blue wave blob. We want to get another one of these big whale blobs, you know. We want this to maybe, I don't know, do another, maybe it doesn't go as crazy, but you want to see an overall big picture slumping over on the daily as we go higher and higher, and the disagreements stack up more and more. That's the kind of stuff we want to see on the daily, is more big blobs coming. Right now we see a momentum desert below us on the daily. See how there's not many times in this market on the daily where you get big buy opportunities. When they come, you have to take advantage of them. So right now the dbsi, we're employing a different strategy than we usually do on the FloppingGroper NickCipher stream. I usually am throwing all these anchors at you guys and talking about volume weighted sentiments and all these complicated concepts. But this stream's a little different. This stream is really just teaching you guys how to read an EMA. That's all dbsi is. We got the momentum numbers that CF and his engineer designed that are proprietary, but what is dbsi? It's just a simple EMA strategy. When the EMA is flat, don't play. When the EMA is red, look for wave readings and ideally divergences over the zero line on NickCipher for shorts. And you want the price action to be under. Whereas when the dbsi is green, you want price action over, and you want to be looking for waves below the zero line for longs. So learn how to employ proper trend bias, and you won't hate NickCipher B as much. And the more you understand this, the more you realize NickCipher B tends to justify your delusions either way. It's up to you to know which way the market is going and to get a proper read of the markets, whether from it's a large time frame of NickCipher itself down here, or you have an EMA or something bobbing and weaving in the candlesticks that makes you inherently bearish or bullish, so that you can then go to NickCipher's waves and cherry pick the indications that fit your narrative. And then they will up your win rate substantially. We have MC traders who they're undefeated. They go 150 trades and they never lose. It's crazy. That being said, your win rate is not that important as a trader. There's traders who have a 30% win rate and they're still profitable, because the point is that it's all about the risk reward. And small wins, small losses, big wins. As long as you control the risk aspect of the trades and you know how much you stand to lose in a trade, then your growth is assured. You may have some issues as an intermediate trader, learning how to let good trades ride and having TP1, TP2, TP3, and then letting the last 25 or 10% ride and let the market kick you out. That's what elevates you from intermediate to expert. But even once you're an expert trader, you never just unlock expert status. You have to wake up every day and not flop and grope. Even an expert trader may have a bad day. It's you're never an expert intermediate or beginner trader. You're gonna have expert days, intermediate days, and FloppingGroper days. That should be the name of an album, FloppingGroper days. But yeah, the lessons from the EMA teach us to keep it. The EMA dbsi teaches us that we could keep this simple, without even having key levels to operate from on the chart. You don't even need the Fibonacci or any of that. You actually really could just have trend bias with dbsi and large time frame NickCipher B, and then just go on to a medium time, a planning time frame such as the 4-hour or the 65-minute, and see when the dbsi agrees with the overall trend, which is up and bull market. So we want to wait for the dbsi on this 65-minute to flip from red to green, and then that's all she wrote, baby. We start looking for blue waves. The deeper the better, baby. The BitBoy green dots above the dbsi. Look at that long. That's when you fire the barrel. You want to stack as many cards as you can in your favor, and try not to overcomplicate it. I use the anchors because I love them, and I've evolved to value the volume weighted sentiments, and it doesn't confuse me. But if you're new, maybe you could just employ something simple like this. I definitely see some signs of divergence. We see on the counter side, it's not a reason to short, I don't think, because we want to go with the trend bias, right? Since we're in a green dbsi, this is more of a cause to take some profits in a long that you would have taken down here at the BitBoy green dot, because the signs do point that the money flow is aiming down, that the waves are trending down, and the price did continue up. That's a disagreement in price that would confuse a new trader, but it's precisely these disagreements between the price and the oscillator that lead to trade opportunities. If we don't come down, then how are we gonna long again if we don't come down? So who knows? Maybe there's an opportunity here at a higher low to re-long, you know, and then this bear div cools off. The bear div cools off, and then the money flow is telling a different story. The narrative changes, and then we look better. Nonsense says, I think I'm going to short, but on the low time frame. It's okay to do that, man. If you are on like the 6-minute time frame, you know, but even on the 6-minute, it's not bearish yet. What small time frame are you on? If you're on the 2-minute or the 3-minute, I guess on the 3-minute it's red. But yeah, like even on the 6-minute, it's telling you that like you still want to be looking at the. It's still looking pretty bullish for now, just for the time being. But this may change. This may change because we did see that bear div on the bigger time frame. But yeah, man, like from a scalping standpoint, you could certainly short in these markets, 100%, 100%. But as someone who's like, you know, comes on here 5 days a week to teach potentially new NickCipher users how to read these tools, I do want to keep it simple. I do want to teach simple trend bias and patience. Patience isn't just a virtue, it's a strategy in these markets. And so being able to wait for your setup, the edge that you perform well in, that's powerful.
Sometimes it's easier to focus on what we don't have.
Crypto Ricka says 4-hour bear dip. Let's check it out. Yes, yes, we see those tiring signs. Yes, you see if we can get a red dot on this wave, Rickus, we do have the higher price and a steep, convincing anchor trigger, which would imply that we may have to come down to a buy zone down here, potentially at this little hitch in the market. If we did have to come lower, you guys know I have that idea of the gap. Like I would be bullish all the way down to this point around 64. That would be beautiful from a 4-hour chart perspective. Do you see how that lines up perfectly with an amazing long off the 4-hour dbsi long bias? And so we would be bullish at those levels. So don't freak out if a bear div plays out on the 4-hour from an overall market perspective. Obviously, like Twitter would freak out and people would freak out, but like our tools are kind of telling you to just not panic. If we did have to come down here, that would be like the market resolving an issue that it kind of needs to resolve before it goes back up. So that's where I stand on that. You know, I have this overall bullish bias, but there's definitely some issues that we could resolve before continuing upwards. So yeah. Sky's Garage says, can you show us on a lower time frame how you would use the dbsi? Yeah. So here we are on the 6-minute, man. So on the 6-minute chart, this is a good time frame. Any of these small time frames will work for you, man. But I understand why you'd want to trade on the 6-minute, because you want to get in, you want to sit down at the chart for the day, you want to see regular opportunities, you want to make your money, and you want to get out, right? Personally, what I would do is I would also enable the intraday VWAP on SR. That way you get a good volume weighted idea of what is expensive Bitcoin and what is cheap Bitcoin for the day. And this white line is also used really powerful for DCA, phasing in and phasing out of markets. If you do ever decide to buy a shitcoin, you know, instead of just flopping in 30 grand on your favorite shitcoin, consider like over the next 10 days or something, like buying in at or below the volume weighted average price and phase into the market. And so and you want to do that with your trades too. Like once you enter a position, you want to, when the price goes up for you, you could add slowly or you could take profit slowly. If the price is moving against your trade, you want to phase out, like start exiting the position in chunks so that you're reducing risk in this losing idea. Don't add to it. Don't double down on a shit bag. That's the last thing you want to do. But yeah, it's like overall in investing and trading, phasing in, phasing out, not doing things in big chunks is going to pay off for you. The VWAP definitely helps you with that. But it also is going to help you with the scalping with the dbsi. So having these two powerful indicators guiding you is going to really help. You want the intraday VWAP and the dbsi to be sloped up. So we isolate a point at around this level where the dbsi starts to slope up and the intraday VWAP starts to slope up, like here, from here to here, and from here to here. You see, like, we're in this kind of environment, and at this point you could honestly just flop in like at that point without even looking at a wave reading, you know, like because it's sloped up, so it's only a matter of time before this uptrend like puts you above water. But if you can get a nice wave reading, that's going to get you a better price, especially if you see like a divergence, like you see the wave trending lower, creating a lower low, but you see the price looking nice and strong. You see how the price creates a strong higher high. We hold this higher, way higher level, and we hold that level, and it continues up even more. So if you want your trades to not only be correct, but then also have like additional follow through, make sure that the intraday VWAP and the dbsi line are bullish, like price is over them, the dbsi is green, and the price is over the intraday VWAP, and make sure they're both sloped up. And if you can be fortunate enough to get a nice deep wave reading on top of all that bullish bias in a bull market with this macro bullish bias that we have right now, that we're fortunate enough to have, that's a recipe for making money, man. Not every trade will play out, you know. For instance, like over here, the dbsi was sloped up, the VWAP was sloping up, looking a little rickety. It's going all over the place there. But I mean, you could have perhaps entered, I don't know, like what if you didn't exit in time, you know, like this obviously could come down on you. And then you get to a point like where the VWAP is sideways and it doesn't look as good. The VWAP and the dbsi do a good job of telling you when it's not really the best time to trade, you know. That's really powerful too. Knowing when not to trade is a really valuable piece of information to know. Duke says, I hate when I miss those good low momentum waves. Me too, man. I hate man, I wish I could just call them out every time in every coin. But this is we're going down the rabbit hole, man. There's a new shit coin that comes out every day. Things happening all over the place in all these markets. You can't catch it all, man. You gotta just it's crazy, man. It's like a big school of fish and you're a barracuda. It's like if you just get one, man, you're good, you know. You don't have to like get all the fish. Don't get bamboozled by all the opportunities. There's opportunities that come every day. You know, you want to avoid that coulda, shoulda, woulda mindset in your life in general, man. You know, it's like, who cares what you were or what happened yesterday? What really matters is who you are today and what's happening right now. James Roy, I appreciate, man. I appreciate you, man. You've been a strong member of the community. Appreciate your additions in the chat. Just trapping shorts under VWAP right now to fuel the pump. That's how I feel too, man. But that's not just how I feel. That's what my indicators are telling me. You know, I don't really like when you guys say like FloppingGroper called this, FloppingGroper called that. Like, I don't even have any of my own ideas. Like, I don't even exist. I'm just like, I just try to embody what NickCipher is saying as honestly as possible. Like, I really do try my best. There's not many people on earth that like read these tools better than I do. So I definitely feel called to come up here and like share what I know about what's going on as best as I can. But like, you know, these ideas that I come up with, like, it's not really like my ideas. It's just NickCipher. Like, I take pride in that, you know. I try not to inflect my bias. Sometimes I do. I do have feelings, you know. I do have feelings. But I think it's okay to have feelings, to have heart in trading, to have emotions, as long as you abide by a system. Sometimes I cry. Anthony Finesca says, I need to get better at knowing when not to trade. Yeah, man, that's one of the hardest parts is like you sit down to trade and you're like, it's time to trade. And you're like ready to go. You got your trading bib on. You got your trade, you got your coffee. You got your fuzzy slippers on. You got your Magikarp hat, your FloppingGroper hat. And you're locked in, bro. It's like trading is not like other industries where you can just lock in and just start chefing in the kitchen and just start cooking. And you can just zoom in and just hit it hard and just solve all your life's problems in a day. Like, that's really not trading, man. Like, if you try to change your life too quick in the trading world, you will get put on your ass, man. You definitely get rewarded by being patient. And so just, you know, I'm gonna keep the lesson simple. There's many ways to know when not to trade, right? When things are in total disagreement, when the macro is bullish but the micro is bearish, and it's all mixed signals. Sometimes there's points in the market where you're not getting the confluence you need. You're not getting the cards stacked up, and the odds are just simply not in your favor, and you'll know that. And that comes with experience. But just from this stream, I gave you a very valuable lesson on, like, perhaps a time when you would not trade, which is when the VWAP, the intraday, is hella flat. You know, you do want to be longing. If you're going to enter a long on these small time frames, you want to see some ascending VWAP. Or perhaps if you're already in a long, you know, from down here, like you got a good divergence, like you see like an anchor and a trigger, and then you see it's reclaiming not only the intraday but also the dbsi, and so you enter right here at a relatively sideways point in the dbsi. But you want to see that follow through. You want to see the extra signs adding and giving you the confidence in your trade. So you start to see the VWAP increasing. You start to see the dbsi sloping up as well, and that makes you feel confident in your trade. You know, when would you take profits? You take profit at some NCB tiring signs. You see an anchor and a trigger form here. You know, so at some bear divs, you want to at least take out half. At least take out half up at these levels, and let the rest ride and see if this original idea, you know, there's a chance that this original idea is a winning idea overall. You know, the odds, if you enter a trade and you immediately go in the green, typically the market continues more in that direction. This is the idea of adding to winning positions and believing in good situations in your life, letting good situations in your life ride. Whereas if this was immediately going against us, if this trade immediately proved our initial idea wrong, we wouldn't want to invest more into that trade or try to save that shit bag, because the initial idea was wrong. Like, it's probably likely going to keep getting worse again and again and again until we're completely cornered by the markets with no clothes on, oiled up like a little piggy. And you'll be squealing like a little piggy because there's nothing you can do, and then you get liquidated. So yeah, if your initial idea was right, odds are that it'll continue to be right, you know. But yeah, once this VWAP goes flat, once this dbsi is kind of flattening out, maybe you take out another 25%, and you just let that last 10% or 20% or whatever ride, and just let the market kick it. Raise your stop loss up to right below here. If we continue up, that's awesome. If we do have to correct down and this like 4-hour bear div plays out right here, well, oh well, man, you know, you took most of your profit off the table. My little piggies, how are we doing in the chat? Vitaly says, bro, I turned that 1K into 30K from August to March. It's just easy when you don't jump the willy-nilly. Don't be getting all willy-nilly. But wow, what an amazing accomplishment, 30xing in a trading account. I'm curious, Vitaly, like, how do you get such consistent results? Is it employing good trend bias with NickCipher B, and you just have a very high win rate? I'm curious. Or be honest, did you take big cracks, big risks, and were fortunate enough to profit from them? Sky's Garage says 4 years of trading and I just learned not to double down in DCA. Sometimes cut off some of the position to reduce the loss. I'm so glad to hear your growth as a trader, Skies. This is a really important lesson in markets, is to not fuel bad ideas. If your initial idea was wrong, it's time to start exiting. Sky Chima says FG comes in here and reads a story. It's all from his book, The Book of BTC. Right now he's telling a story. I do tell stories. I keep the flow going. I don't know how I learned how to talk so much, man. For years I handled the operations of NickCipher and wasn't, you guys didn't hear my voice. You guys didn't know what I sounded like, really. Unless you were lucky enough to hear me on like a CF stream or something. But you know, I didn't really want any fame or anything. I don't want people to know who I am. I was just like my brother's keeper, just you know, helping my brother with his business, you know.
We catching dips, ain't no catching feelings. We gon' sell the real, stick to the script like a
Johnny Schaefer says, what are the thoughts on the BTC options expiry happening tonight? I really don't have any strong thoughts on that. I'm not really sure. Do I trade anything other than Bitcoin and ETH? I haven't even messed with non-KYC exchanges this year, bro. So do I even trade? I mean, I've been doing buys and sells of cryptos. I've been buying and selling cryptos strategically. I just swapped some shitter Chainlink, which hasn't been performing that well. I still have a lot of Chainlink, but I swapped some Chainlink into Doge and FET yesterday. I got some shit coins that I believe in, and I got out of Chainlink a little bit. So that's the extent of my trading, you know. But I have pride in the fact that I'm now on the producer side of the trading world and filling this niche for the MC community and providing knowledge, consistent knowledge 5 days a week. And I've talked to over 100 traders in my consultations throughout the years, and I'm very familiar with the issues traders face. Never had a bad call. Rarely give bad overall advice. Yeah, I may be wrong with some analysis or in my read of NickCipher, but my overall read of people and traders is like usually spot on. Like, I never had a bad consultation. So yeah, I'm the MC professor, man. You know, to have someone who's so risk, like CF takes such crazy risk. I feel like a duty, like almost to my family, to take less risk than him. Does that make sense? Not that I compare myself to my brother. I definitely like compare myself to myself. You know, I compare my performance this year in crypto to previous years and stuff. It's other people in my life who've made that mistake of comparing me to my brother, and that's to their own downfall. You know, that's an easy way to get kicked out of NickCipher's life, is if you start doing that shit. Because I love my brother, and I hate when people try to like pit me against him in some way or something, you know, because like I'm my brother's keeper. Like, I manage his business for him, and
all I know is,
you know what I'm saying?
I put my money where my mouth is.
You can call me crypto face.
Didn't he release Scared Money Part 2 already, man? There was like a song playing on CF stream earlier today that was like awesome. It was like a new Crown song. I'm pretty sure it came out, or maybe it was like a preview. TRD Farmer says, do I F with spider lines? Not really, man. I F with these anchored VWAPs. Let me leave this chart and go to my anchor tools. So like I placed these, I use this tool on the left, the anchored VWAP, which is in the same family of volume-based, price-based indicators, kind of like the volume profiles that you see a lot of other MC influencers and traders use. But I use the anchored VWAP. It's another tool that measures volume, not in relation to time and the x-axis, but in relation to price. But it's a unique calculation that bobs and weaves like an EMA amidst the candles. But it's not an EMA, it's static. Like, see, this poop line is at 60,900 on the daily. If I go to the hourly, that's still at the same level. So these lines are ironclad. These are key levels in the markets where when the price comes down to these levels, traders rush in to trade at these levels because these are hot. The going's hot when we reach these levels. There's some skill in placing them. Like, I'll place them I always place them off the daily. And in the settings, I use open, high, low, close 4. I don't use bands. And I'll place them at market tops on the daily. I'll place them at market bottoms. I'll place them at the first of the year. That's a really good one. The year-to-date anchor is a really good one. That's you can see it's kind of gone flat. From a volume standpoint, we've gone a little more flat than from a simple price standpoint. See, that's why I love the anchors, because they tell you what's going on with the volume, the number of shares being traded. We have gone a little less bullish, and it's reflected in the price, you know. So while the dbsi is still catching up like Heinz and still telling you that, holy crap, it's super mega bullish, guys, like the VWAP's done a better job of clinging more to the price action, for actually providing levels where you would want to long at or short at, whether it's a bullish or bearish anchor. And it does a better job of really telling you like what is the trend. Like this dbsi is very bullish. It's very sloped up. But we have been more, the actual experience of trading in the last couple weeks has been a little bit choppier, right? We've had to deal with bearish issues. It hasn't been easy. So I think the anchors do a better job of really representing the actual trend bias, which is that we're slightly up. Obviously, this long off the FOMC Jerome Powell decision like has put us into a new budding uptrend, you know. And so I think the volume weighted anchors are suggesting they're kind of fitting that narrative better. Some of these top anchors went completely sideways. Like this orange anchor went totally sideways on us. But the bigger ones below are still kind of sloped up for us. This is Crown Chalker, by the way. He's a family friend of me and CF. We knew him personally before we even got into crypto. And he's been with us this whole time, man. He's part of the family, man. And he's left his mark on crypto culture. Thank you, guys. Gano. Yeah, that's my VWAP chart. In fact, I feel bad. I'm actually drawing all over it right now. I'm drawing all over it. So I don't know if like you guys see me playing with your chart right now, if you're using this, but I'm gonna stop. I'm sorry. We're gonna get off that right now. We're gonna save that for you, and then we're gonna get off that. Yeah. I've been experimenting with other dbsi settings, you know, like I came in here. Oh, this is the 6 minute. I have been experimenting with other dbsi settings, but you know, I realized that I just want to keep the settings stock just from an educator standpoint. I want the people who come into my stream to see dbsi as it is. I don't want to be messing with things too much, because the stock settings do a good enough job of you know, not only helping me teach you guys like how do you employ the dbsi's EMA, you know, to the trading. It fits really good with the anchors, guys. dbsi plus anchors, it's a really good blend of basically the dbsi is this line that like when you switch time frames, the dbsi is going to change. Like look on the 12 hour. The DBSI is way down here, and it's like shooting up and tells us we got this big bullish bias. Whereas when we go to the 65-minute, now the DBSI is like right here with the price action. So it's fickle. Whereas the anchors are static and unmoving and uncompromising. So I like that the VWAPs are like our control variable, and then the DBSI and our waves down below and the candles themselves are our experimental variables. I like to see all these interactions around these powerful volume weighted anchors. And I mean, you get points in the market. The DBSI is red. We're below the volume weighted anchor, this red anchor from the top, and we're underneath old support. Look at this orange anchor. This was old support. Now it becomes resistance. And look at the powerful shorts we got off that in this current market. Yeah. And so we find some support off the poop line, which is the overall idea from the market bottom. Oh, this is a different chart. This is not my VWAP chart, but I was experimenting with like placing the anchor at the point where we came up over the DBSI. You know, I've been experimenting with anchors in my own charts and in my own ways, so just know that I'm always evolving and learning new things, but I still stick by the VWAP chart that's in my description for you guys. But yeah, sometimes I wiggle things around, you know. I may update that chart, put out a new video for you guys in time. Jason Vernon says, so glad to catch this live. Harder over here in Australia to catch you. I'll be sure to do more evening streams, man. This is fun. I like doing the late streams. I just have to balance like not eating too much food, not tiring myself out throughout the day, like doing the stream, getting the hard work done early. You guys know this. It's easier to get the hard work done early in the day so that you can relax. But also this is relaxing. I get to walk and talk and hang out with you guys. Trav Desab, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Just joined, man. Nice, bro. I was teaching the stream DBSI. We probably got a lot of new people in already. We probably churn and burn a lot of people. But we were just going over the DBSI, guys. We were saying like when the slope is very steep up, the green dots are supercharged. When the DBSI is more sideways, you're in a more consolidatory point in the markets. You know, so things are less exciting. So make sure the slope of the DBSI line is in your favor. You know, like if you are looking to short, make sure price is under the DBSI, it's red, and it's sloped down. That's going to make your short much higher win rate. On top of that, you want a good wave reading, a good bear div to affirm your idea as well. Look at this big dip down on the 4 hour. So from here to here, we're bearish. And the red DBSI tells me, for the most part, to ignore the BitBoy green dots and to ignore the bullish side of things. And when I look at the waves here, like what happened here is there was a scarcity of blue wave opportunities above the zero line, and a majority of the momentum was weighted toward the downside. And in trading, we want to trade against the crowd, but with the grain, right? So you're under the DBSI. It's all these little waves. It's all these little trigger waves above the zero line, and all these little bearish divs. It's the bearish divs that play out. For instance, an example of a bear div, a continuation, if you're looking for one, is like you see how the price comes down sharply here, but when you look at the waves, you see how the waves trended up. So the blue waves, the bulls are trying harder and harder to establish momentum for themselves and to change the narrative of this market but the price is lower. So despite the bulls trying harder, the price is going lower, and we get slammed down, and so we stay under that dbsi line, and it's these bearish trigger waves that do better. And if you can just short in this red dbsi environment, then it's only a matter of time before your trade's in the green. Whereas if you're catching longs, if you didn't get out up here, then it's only a matter of time before you're effed, you know. And then, you know, here you can see the dbsi enters more of a sideways area, and this is definitely a more choppy, messed up place to be trading in. That's choppy. Here you get, you know, the dbsi flips green, and it is sloped up, and it is a little bit of a fake out on this 4-hour chart. You know, you don't really get a strong wave reading until we actually flip the dbsi red, and you get this nice deep wave, and then we break over and we flip it green again. Then things look crazy. Then it gets crazy really quick. So this little stretch right here is an example of a green dbsi bias that doesn't really play out how you would expect. So you will get those, guys. You will get those, especially when they follow a sideways period in the dbsi. But the overall, like, if you employ the trend bias of, like, when dbsi is green, you trade the bull divs. When the dbsi is red, you trade the bear divs. Overall, you're gonna make money, because, like, look what happens when it's right for a very long time. You'll just be trending for a very long time. Travis Niesta says, what's the difference in price you need to have to be able to consider a divergence? It's any difference in price. It's not about a difference in, it's not just about difference in price. It's a disagreement between the price and the oscillator. You see the price creating a higher high, and the price creating, or the oscillator creating, a lower low. But if the price had held flat here, Travis, let's say we never went over this white line here, that's still a disagreement between the price and the oscillator. So to answer your question, the price doesn't have to change. Just price being equal. If the waves aren't equal, that's a disagreement. You see what I'm saying? It's a weaker form of divergence, but it is still a divergence. What matters with a div is the waves and the price are disagreeing. Vooch says, with divergence, do you go off wicks or body? I crap shot it, bro. This is not a game of, you know, instead of being so perfect with trend lines, you want to be very precise. And I usually go off wicks with trend lines, usually. But when you're just drawing a div, like, the less exact you are, the better. Like, your analysis needs to be quick because you're executing trades, right? So just do this. That's how I measure divs. It's not, don't overanalyze a div. Like, you see it and it just is, if that makes sense. Like, just chicken scratch on your chart, man. There's no, like, oh, click magnet mode, and then you go from this wick to this wick, and then you go from you follow the exact point down on the Y, and then you got to measure it perfectly. It's not like that, you know? When you're actually in the process of, like, high frequency trading, you just see it, you just feel it, and it just is. Yeah. And by flowing like water like that and being a little more flexible with what a div is, you know, because there's strong divs, you kind of want to give it a look, and, like, if it's not very convincing, you may see a div that's, like, not very convincing, and weigh that in your mind, in your calculations and internally, like, how many traders would recognize this div? If it's not many, it's probably not going to play out as well. But you learn to see them everywhere. Like, look right here, the price came down. And if you measure exactly where that was, see, that was this. That was this red dot right down here. And when you measure that, you see how that's a disagreement between the price and the oscillator. So the highs in the blue waves went higher, but the highs in price went lower. That's a hidden bearish divergence. That's a bearish continuation. We were going down, and then this happened, and then we went down further. So some divs start like some divs they transverse the zero line. You know, it's not always like a clean div on the tops of some blue waves. Sometimes they go across the zero line like that. Justin says, how do you spot hidden divergences easier? Any tips? I would say, Justin, that a lot of these hidden divs do transverse the zero line. So you want to look at, just remember that when it's any bear div, whether it's a standard or hidden, you're comparing tops, right? Because it's a bear div, right? So a bearish standard divergence is tops in price going up, tops in the momentum going down. Whereas the hidden bear is tops in the price coming down despite tops in the momentum going up. These are both bearish, but the similarity between them is that you're comparing tops of price to tops in the oscillator because it's bearish. And sometimes they transverse that zero line, sometimes they do not. And also, we're just looking at blue wave divergence. There's also money flow divergence. There's also the yellow oscillator divergence as well. Yellow oscillator divergences can be key. Let me see if I can isolate one. Oh, here's a good one. So like we teach in the tutorials, like the yellow oscillator, it's really great. It's a really great signal when it crosses up or below the zero line. But you can anticipate this happening. There's a more leading indication that is like a yellow wave divergence where you see the yellow wave trending up, but see how like the price is trending down. So you can anticipate that like bullish cross to the upside, like coming. If you learn to read yellow wave divergence. Same with like right here, you can see a bear div where the yellow oscillator creates that lower high and the price kind of just holds steady. So it's a little weaker, but I mean, you're anticipating like a bearish cross of the yellow oscillator. So you can catch moves like that with the yellow oscillator too. Yeah. And you remember, you want to trade with your trend bias. So it's like you want to be looking for a bull div in the yellow oscillator when the dbsi is green. Like check this out, where the dbsi is red, right? And from a chicken scratch layman's, like lazy charting perspective, this is holding flat. I get that we got this wick up, guys. I get that this is not exact and not, we're bending the rules a little bit, but like the overall vibe of this price action here is flat, right? But you see the yellow oscillator trending down, and so you're anticipating that bearish VWAP cross, this little moment right here, and you do get extra like additional follow through that is in line with your bearish bias that you have. Right now we're getting a yellow oscillator crossing down right now. Right now we have a blue wave divergence. Look at this red dot playing out. The price holding relatively flat. The feeling here is flat, right? We're slamming our head on the same general level. I'm not going to use the magnet tool and draw exact points here. It's just a feeling. It's a feeling of weakness. That's what I go by, is the feel. And yes, like the oscillators are just tumbling down. So we're dealing with, there's going to be a reckoning for now. But the DBSI tells us, see the DBSI below is green, bro. My bros, my piggies. So what that tells me is, you know, there's some profit taking going on. But if this has to come down and we get a nice deep wave reading above a green DBSI, ooh, that's juicy. That's what we want to see. There's people in this market waiting to get in, man. There's some people who missed the boat who would be killing for some from cheap BTC above a nice green, juicy, sloped up DBSI like this. Joe Brown says, what about the yellow X strategy? So if we employ NickCipher A, yellow X's are a bearish indicator. So like in a bull market, you know, on a big time frame like the 4 hour, they might get triggered, but they're not really going to play out in the way that like the strategy dictates, you know. But like on the small time frames, I bet that we would see them playing out better, because then you'd have bigger bearish environments because you're zoomed in more, right? Even here you see them kind of dudding out. Yeah, I'm not afraid to show like bearish indications in a bull market failing. Like that's what you want to see. Here is a moment where like we're under the red DBSI, so we get some good bearish bias, and you can see the two yellow X's playing out there. They tend to happen in like 2s and 3s. Look at this crazy. Look at this right here. There you go, man. So obviously yellow X's, I wouldn't base a trade off them. They would make me feel safer if I was already in some shit based on the DBSI and like slipping underneath the intraday, and you know, you get a good wave reading. It's been a hot minute since I entered a trade off a yellow X, but when I like it, you know, if I was in a short, then this would make me I'd be feeling good right now, being this strong trending under the intraday, under a red downsloped DBSI with a nice momentum desert of no blue waves up here above the zero. I'd then be looking for a blue wave to short. So I probably have shorted here and here and here and potentially here. So yeah, some of these were bangers and some of them were not, you know. But at least you're trading with the grain. Like if you shorted here, at least it's only a matter of time before you're in the green. Whereas if you long the dip, if you're trying to catch a knife and you're trying to like just buy into this action down here, like the bull side of things, you could certainly scalp a nice profit back up to the DBSI line or back up to the intraday, but then it's only a matter of time before your trade gets eaten up. Blood Fiascence, how do you get the line and not just the numbers for DBSI? I think you can just make the numbers invisible, like just adjust their opacity. When it comes to NickCipher A, I tend to, if I ever do employ the symbols, I like to disable the more common like filler symbols, like the yellow diamonds and the red diamonds. And I pretty much would keep everything else. But like I would use them as additional confirmation. I wouldn't plan a trade idea off them. I would employ my trend bias first. A green DBSI, now the green dot has more of a chance of playing out. Like see, this green dot plays out in a green DBSI and it does follow through. Whereas if you're in a bearish mode, you're getting like these green dots. It's that EMA ribbon from A, like trying to recover. It's the green dots on A. Believe it or not, they are a leading indication, but the issue with a leading indication is that you could get some drawdown and it may call something too soon. You know, if the bias isn't in the green dot's favor, because we're on this small 10-minute time frame, it could dud out and it could give you these mixed signals. But if you go to the daily, the green dot is not a lagging indicator. The green dot is the beginning of that EMA ribbon on A, trying to start something big. You know, it's the start of something massive that's to come. That's what this green dot is. So it's definitely more powerful on the big time frames. Here's an example of it not that it craps out there. But when it does pay off, it really pays, man. Yeah. Ooh, man, we walked 2.5 miles so far. All right, that's it for me, guys. I'm gonna stream tomorrow at an earlier time. I appreciate you guys going over dbsi and the markets with me. When it comes to Ethereum, real quick, just to go over this, like, we're still in the gulag, guys. But I still am bullish on Ethereum. Like, if Bitcoin's gonna go bullish overall, like, obviously we're bullish on Ethereum too, and it would have like higher percent gain. So I'm still overall bullish on Ethereum. Look at this dbsi keeping us up on the daily. On the 4 hour, the dbsi is green. We're just in this like flat area right now where it's not as convincing. But we would look for these markets to come back up, and just because ETH is lagging behind doesn't mean there isn't a good overall. Like, this is a lot of gains right here on the table for ETH. So it's not like ETH is crashing to zero, you know. Yeah, it's lagging a little behind right now, but that means there's gains on the table still. Travisov says you took a long. Your bro took a long this morning. Oh yeah, I saw him trading this morning, man. I was happy to see him live. Justin says thank you for the fire stream. See you tomorrow. I will be here tomorrow, man, every weekday unless something crazy happens. Hitting some push-ups. Let's get it, man. I gotta do my 100 push-ups still. I'm gonna drive to the gym and I'm gonna do some push-ups, man, at the gym. Yeah, it's a late stream today. Much love, guys. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.